Captain Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the cold metal wall of the derelict vessel, feeling the strange vibration that pulsed through its hull like a sleeping heartbeat. The Void Reaper hung motionless in the graveyard of ships that surrounded the Nexus Drift, a region of space where the galaxy's most dangerous derelicts came to rest. For 2,000 years, every spacefaring civilization had tried to claim this ship. The Kron Empire had sent their best engineers. The Zephyrian Collective had attempted to interface with its quantum neural networks. Even the enigmatic ethereals, beings of pure energy, had tried to possess its systems. All had failed. The ship remained dead, its secrets locked away. Scans show the same readings as always, reported Dr. James Liu, humanity's leading xenotechnologist. The vessel is intact, no structural damage, no system failures. It's just inactive, like it's waiting for something. Vasquez nodded, studying the reports on her datapad. Humanity was the youngest species in the Galactic Council, barely 3 centuries since first contact. They were considered primitive by most standards. Their ships were slower, their weapons weaker, their technology laughably obsolete compared to civilizations that had ruled space for millennia. But they had one thing the other species lacked: desperation. Earth was dying. Their sun was entering its death throes early due to an ancient Kron weapon that had destabilized its core. Humanity had perhaps 50 years before their homeworld became uninhabitable. The Void Reaper represented their last hope. Its technology could potentially save their species if they could somehow bring it online. The whole composition is unlike anything in our databases, Liu continued, running his scanner over the strange material. It's not metal, not ceramic, not any form of matter we understand. It's almost like the ship is made from crystallized space-time itself. Vasquez moved deeper into the vessel's corridors. Emergency lighting flickered sporadically, casting eerie shadows that seemed to move independently of their source. The ship was massive, easily 10 kilometers in length, but its interior felt strangely organic, as if they were walking through the arteries of some cosmic leviathan. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Sarah Chen from ahead. "You need to see this." They found Chen standing before a circular chamber at the ship's heart. The room was dominated by a single chair, if it could be called that. The structure seemed to grow from the floor itself, composed of the same impossible material as the hull. Complex neural interfaces sprouted from its surface like metallic flowers, waiting to connect with an occupant. "The command throne," Vasquez whispered. Every expedition report had mentioned this chamber. It was here that the greatest minds of the galaxy had tried and failed to activate the ship. Ancient Kron warlords had sat in that chair and been reduced to gibbering madness. Zephyrian technarchs had attempted neural links and emerged catatonic. The ethereals had simply been expelled from the ship's systems, like antibodies rejecting an infection. "What makes us think we'll succeed where they failed?" Chen asked. Dr. Liu was studying his readings with growing excitement. "Because we're different. Look at these bioneural patterns the ship is broadcasting. Every other species that tried to interface with this vessel was trying to dominate it, control it through superior technology or willpower. And humans?" Vasquez prompted. "We're not superior to anyone," Liu grinned. "We're the underdogs, the survivors, the species that's learned to adapt rather than conquer. What if this ship doesn't want a master? What if it wants a partner?" Vasquez approached the command throne slowly. The neural interfaces seemed to respond to her presence, extending toward her like curious tentacles. She could feel something, not quite consciousness, but a presence nonetheless. Ancient, powerful, and incredibly lonely. The ship's been waiting, she realized. Not for someone strong enough to control it, but for someone desperate enough to need it. Without hesitation, she sat in the command throne. The neural interfaces connected instantly, and Vasquez's mind exploded with sensation. She was the ship feeling the gravitational pull of nearby stars, sensing the quantum fluctuations of hyperspace, aware of every particle of cosmic dust that touched her hull. But more than that, she could feel the ship's history. It had been built by a species called the Architect's beings, who had transcended physical form eons ago. They had created the Void Reaper not as a weapon, but as a test, a final gift to whatever species could prove worthy of inheriting their legacy. The ship wasn't just advanced technology, it was alive, a symbiotic organism waiting for the right partner. Every species that had tried to claim it had approached with arrogance, seeking to impose their will upon it. But humanity approached as equals, seeking cooperation rather than domination. Finally, a voice whispered in Vasquez's mind, not words, but pure understanding. A species that knows what it means to be small in a vast universe. The Void Reaper awakened. Power flowed through systems that had been dormant for millennia. The ship's hull began to glow with patterns of energy that shifted like living aurora. Its engines, operating on principles that transcended conventional physics, hummed to life with a sound like distant thunder. "Captain," Chen's voice seemed to come from very far away. "All systems are coming online. We're reading power levels that shouldn't be possible." But Vasquez was seeing something far more important. Through the ship's enhanced sensors, she could perceive the dying Earth 50 light-years away. The Void Reaper's technology could indeed save her homeworld, not by preventing the sun's death, but by moving Earth itself to a new system. The ship could manipulate space-time like clay, folding distances that should take generations to cross. It could create pocket dimensions for storage, manipulate matter at the quantum level, and most importantly, it could relocate entire worlds across the galaxy. "The other species were right to fear this ship," Vasquez said, her voice carrying harmonics that hadn't been there before. The neural interface was changing her, making her something more than human while keeping her essentially herself. "It is the deadliest ship in the galaxy, not because of its weapons, but because it represents evolution itself." The Void Reaper began to move, its passage through space creating ripples in reality that would be felt across the galaxy. The great powers that had dismissed humanity as primitive would soon learn that the deadliest force in the universe wasn't superior technology or ancient wisdom. It was the desperate ingenuity of a species with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. As Earth appeared on the ship's view screen, Vasquez smiled. The galaxy's deadliest ship had found its purpose at last, and humanity had found its salvation. Together, they would reshape the stars themselves.